Speaker, I rise to speak to the Appropriation, Recurrent and Capital for 2021 Bill for 2020. And I'd like to start at the outset by thanking the Treasurer for an outstanding budget. An outstanding budget and for its record spend within regional Western Australia of $7.5 billion. And it shows that this state is in a safe pair of hands. So I'm known, Madam Acting Speaker, as being proudly Bunbury. But I've never been more proud of my community than I have over the past 8 months. We have been part of one of the biggest challenges this globe has faced. And my community, as is the case with all of Western Australia, faced that challenge with courage and with resilience. When the call went out for volunteers, people stepped up. When shops had to close, people did that willingly. And when we were able to remove the immediate restrictions around our lives and open up again, people responded with enthusiasm. Perhaps more than anything else, it showed just how much of a community we are as we faced up to an uncertain future. Last weekend in Bunbury, the sun was shining. It was a beautiful spring day, and all over Bunbury, there were festivals and events happening, and the electorate was buzzing. It was as if for the first time in a long time, people didn't need to feel fear about the future. They came together to enjoy music, dance, food, and new activities, from story tours about shipwrecks to a brand new motor museum. On the Saturday, I went to the Southwest Filipino Australia Live Lighter Community Arts Festival, and under President Francis Albaceti's leadership and Mary Jo's organisational ability, that was a beautiful festival, with mums and dads and children dressed in traditional costumes, enjoying a local band at the Graham Bricknell Music Show, surrounded by food trucks, market stalls, but more importantly, enjoying each other's company. Later in the day, the Kambana Bay Sailing Club started its season over the beautiful outlook of Kambana Bay, and with a new committee led by Commodore Sarah Twigger and Vice Commodore Derry Price, the club now looks forward to a great future, expanding sailing and boating right around Bunbury's waterfronts. And in the afternoon, the Youth Advisory Committee organised the Shift Music Festival. It was all happening in Bunbury for youth on the Kambana foreshore. Live music and activities along the water's edge, with people just out enjoying each other's company and the sunset over the water. And then, Madam Speaker, was the Garba Festival. Garba is a Gujarati folk dance celebrated in Navaratri, a celebration lasting 9 nights with songs typically revolving around the subjects of the 9 goddesses, and is a circular dance that can go on for 24 hours. And I managed 4 circuits, Madam Speaker, 4 circuits. Took a long time, about 5 minutes a circuit. It's a celebration that is for every generation, with children through to seniors dressed in traditional colourful dress and deep rhythmic Indian music. Dr. Parata Ramesh, President of the Southwest Indian Group, brought the community together for this festival and was joined by Indian Consul General Dantu Charadasi. Together for this festival, it was a great festival. And on Sunday, Madam Speaker, Bunbury won the South West Football League Grand Final. And it's a pity the member for Bass is here. A stunning victory over Bustleton, stunning, with a crowd of over 3,000 people enjoying the day, kicking footies on the oval during the breaks, enjoying a pie and, dare say, some chips and gravy. Sunday also saw the opening of the Bunbury Geograph Motor Museum in the city centre, with a huge collection of classic motor vehicles, perhaps in excess of Holdens over Fords, but it's a result of the efforts of local people keen to bring new opportunities to the CBD, and Tom Dillon and Colin Piacentini were the driving forces, supported by Chair of the Committee, Paul Stubber. And what all this shows is people are out and enjoying everything our community has to offer. And not only enjoying themselves, but volunteering and actively creating things to do and see. And that, Madam Speaker, is because people see our state as safe. And this government is working hard to keep our state safe, despite the efforts of the federal government and the Liberal National Opposition to open our borders and expose the state to community transmission. All the gains to make our community as safe as possible and to open up the community to provide opportunities for a strong economy are under threat if the members opposite have their way. Madam Speaker, when the McGowan government... Madam Speaker, I had to endure the members opposite in silence. Can I seek your protection?
Everyone, I'm on my feet. Do you have a point of order?
Oh, no.
I didn't think so. Members, that's enough. Please let the Speaker continue. He has the call.
When the McGowan Labor government was elected in March 2017, we had a plan to bring the state's finances under control after the appalling mess left by the Liberal National Government that put this state into recession. We had a plan to support local jobs, to rebuild TAFE, support education and health, and build the infrastructure that would carry Western Australia into the future. But above all, Madam Speaker, the government's platform when it was elected in 2017 was to put the people of Western Australia first, making sure that our health services had patients at the centre, ensuring apprentices and trainees were supported with quality training opportunities, that our kids had access to modern school facilities, putting education assistants back into the classroom and embracing opportunities to promote science, maths and engineering, and doing this while making sure the state's financial position was under control for the long haul. By February 2020, the government's fiscal position was a world away from the mess left by the Liberal National Government. There was 1% less unemployment, a $9 billion improvement in forecast debt. Operating expense growth was not only under control, but delivering a surplus, and we were delivering on our plan for Western Australia. And of course, COVID-19 changed everything everywhere. It changed the world's economy and plunged most of the world into potential recession. It has brought fear and anxiety about the future and uncertainty. It has impacted every part of our lives, but one thing has not changed, Madam Speaker. The McGowan Labor government still puts people first. This budget, Madam Speaker, is about keeping our community safe, keeping people healthy, and ensuring that we manage COVID-19 by controlling our own destiny. It is also about enabling people to rebuild, to get back to work, resume their businesses, their careers, as far as is possible within the resources of the state. And the budget builds on the partnership this government has developed with the federal government in funding infrastructure for the future, with the largest regional roads programme in this state's history. And of course, in my region, we're benefiting from that with the outer ring road for Bunbury and the dualling of the Bustle Highway. It's about a safe community and it's about a strong community, and the feedback from my community is that that is welcome. Madam Speaker, the future of our economy rests in our ability to manage the virus within our state. The ability of people to go about their daily lives, to be able to go to work, to open their businesses, to invest in the future, is based on our ability to ensure this virus does not get a second foothold in the state. And my community welcomes the actions of this government to put the health and safety of people at first. And make no mistake, the McGowan Labor government has the back of West Australians. My community welcomes the fact that we've regained 70% of the jobs that were lost during the lockdowns, that aggregate hours worked are almost 90% of what they were pre-COVID, that job adverts are at a new high. It welcomes the fact that the state for 2019-20 has grown by 1.1% and has not followed the rest of Australia down the path of recession. And that gross state product is forecast to grow by 1.25%, and most of all, unemployment forecast to average 8% in 2021 has declined to 7% in August, with 32,000 people gaining employment in that month. The retail confidence and business confidence indicators are up, and I had a very interesting ABC report today, which I just want to read out for the benefit of members. And it's a report from the Australian Retailers Association, and it talks about the importance of the fact that the state's economy was quickly rebooted after initial lockdowns, and that retailers are the unexpected winners. So retail sales are up by more than 20% in WA compared to the same time last year. National Retailers says WA is outperforming the rest of the nation, and that the strong return to work rates creating a retail sector boom. In fact, and I quote the CEO, Paul Zara, WA is definitely a star performer since the COVID pandemic began. The state is likely to post a record year of sales in 2020. There are a few key ingredients for the retail sector to thrive. The first is underlying retail business has to be healthy. The second is people need to be in jobs and have cash. And third, consumers need to feel positive about the future. And I think we're seeing those three ingredients play out in WA. And of course, the retail co in Bunbury was quoted. Cheryl Koziak, the president, said, although there were some casualties during the peak of the pandemic, and certainly my heart goes out to those people, that's my quote, many retailers were enjoying a swing back to traditional shopping. So there we have it. The retail sector, very strong. It's everywhere, everywhere. The government knows that keeping people safe is the key to a strong economy, and a strong economy means more West Australians and more people in my electorate can get back to work and live a life as close to normal as possible. That is why I'm pleased this budget returns money to WA households, $600 in power credits, increases the number of police on the streets by 950, fully funds the West Australian Economic Recovery Plan and funds important services and infrastructure in my community. It is a plan to provide the fiscal stimulus that my and many other communities need and provides a foundation, Treasurer, for renewed confidence and investment from the private sector. Madam Speaker, the Economic Recovery Plan for Bunbury is about health, it's about education, it's about a renewed focus on industry and manufacturing. It is about infrastructure to make our roads safer and more efficient, but at its core it's about a safe and a strong community. The South West Economic Recovery Plan delivers for Bunbury a fast-tracked outer ring road that will deliver 4,500 local jobs, significantly improve road safety into the future and reduce significant congestion in suburbs like Glen Iris, Dalyellop, College Grove, around our regional hospital and Gelora, making our local roads safer and improving the lives of local people. The plan contributes $38 million of additional funding for a total of $60.8 million towards the redevelopment of Bunbury Hospital, one of the hardest working hospitals in the state, Madam Speaker. This is a major redevelopment that will continue. When you have something to say that's sensible, Member for Dawesville, I'll listen. When you have a significant contribution to make, I'll listen. But until that time, I seek the protection of the Madam Speaker.
Absolutely.
This is a major redevelopment of a hospital that will continue to provide services to my community right through the redevelopment programme while it works to meet the needs of the South West for the foreseeable future. There is $8.0 million to fund a new multi-purpose community and youth centre at Dalyellop, a community at 9,500 people that is larger than most regional towns in Western Australia and desperately in need of community facilities, a suburb entirely neglected by the previous Liberal National Government. In fact, I don't even think that they know it exists. $5 million towards the provision of modern facilities at Hands Oval, including national standard male and female change rooms, particularly important given the rise of women's sport, ground sports in the Bunbury area. $11.9 million towards the Bunbury Water Resource Recovery Scheme, which will provide recycled water for irrigation of Bunbury's public open spaces and potentially a source of water for construction, but significantly safeguard potable water for the city's future in terms of drinking water supplies. An excellent example of this government's investment into the future, leaving a legacy. $15.5 million to facilitate the expansion of the Port of Bunbury by celebrating private traffic from commercial and freight traffic. $3.3 million for the Bunbury High School performance and sports areas, a school again long neglected by the previous government. $32 million to expand the lower fees local skills programme and significantly reduce TAFE fees across 39 high priority courses and $25 million for free TAFE short courses. These are outstanding examples of our commitment to reskilling and to education, and I thank the Treasurer. The recovery plan also includes $159 million relief funding for crisis care organisations, who have been out there working with people right through the pandemic period, as well as not-for-profit sports groups, arts and community groups. $942.8 million to support WA businesses through the pandemic, and $30.6 million in payments to maintain apprentices and trainees, and $556 million to reduce or freeze household payments on top of the very warmly received $600 made available as a credit on electricity bills. Madam Speaker, the budget has also delivered to Bunbury a welcome announcement of $78.1 million for Stage 3, Part 1 of Bunbury's waterfront. This is a major transformation of Bunbury's waterfront and enables it to deliver a new level of protection for Casuarina Harbour, enabling the expansion of berthing for vessels, as well as provide new hardstand and boat lifting facilities. This is about a marine industry, a recreational and commercial marine industry that Bunbury has long missed out for. It means new jobs, it means varied jobs, it means apprentices and trainees. In addition, it also includes the rebuilding of the Kambana Bay breakwater, which will trigger significant private sector development from the local sailing club for all boaties in Bunbury. This is a project that WA Labor commenced back in the 1980s as part of the Bunbury 2000 programme. And the members opposite, the Liberal National Government, over successive periods, chose to ignore it. And I'm very grateful that after all this time, a Labour government is delivering it. Now, I would like to acknowledge the hard work put into that project by community members Mr David Kerr, Mr Stuart Thompson and Mr David Doherty, who worked with me to establish the need to expand the marine industry in Bunbury. Mrs Robin Fenwick and members of the Bunbury Development Committee, and especially acknowledge Mr Ashley Clements of the South West Development Commission, who has been a champion and worked tirelessly to make the whole of the Bunbury waterfront transformation a reality. Madam Speaker, I'm also very pleased the budget includes $8.4 million for the creation and management of the Calgallop Regional Park at Bunbury. This will be 3,100 hectares of protected bushland that will be a stronghold for biodiversity as well as a recreational park. And may I seek an extension
granted.
For the people of Bunbury and Dalyellop, and highlights the environmental credentials of this government in both setting aside high-value biodiversity as well as dealing with issues like waste through the Containers for Change scheme, which has hit 10 million containers returned. 10 million, it's amazing. And also, beginning in 2021, there'll be a new pilot programme to increase the completion of child health checks at Year 1 and 2 in Bunbury and Midland to a target of 75% of the population and 100% of high-risk children. And that reflects that historically WA has had low completion rates. A very important project in terms of the future lives of our children. Madam Speaker, this budget completes the Labour government's commitments to the people of my electorate through the Plan for Bunbury. We went to the 2017 election with a clear plan, and I'm pleased to say that all the commitments in that plan are either delivered, under contract or now funded through this budget. Every project has arisen out of collaboration with the community, and in many instances produced new partnerships. There are many other aspects of this budget I'm delighted with. The increase in spend on mental health, which is now over $1 billion, a record spend. Broader commitments to schools, new maintenance programmes for social housing, funding for the tourism sector, the refurbishment of police stations, and the 800 additional new police officers, bringing the total provided by the McGowan government to 1,100. And our commitment to freeze household fees and charges and hand $664 back to households in 2021, effectively a massive reduction of 10.4% for the average household in government fees and charges. The delivery of the McGowan government's commitments to our community, the additional commitments to support an economic recovery agenda for the state, the government's ability to develop the working relationships with the federal government that saw the GST inequity largely addressed, and a suite of major infrastructure projects funded are testament of a government and a treasurer that works hard and is disciplined. The budget returns a net operating surplus of 2021 of $1.2 billion. This is money, and I know the members opposite want us to spend a lot, but this is money that can be invested in the government's infrastructure, but importantly, it can be a buffer in case a second wave of COVID COVID-19 emerges in the state, and that is part of the strategy of this government in keeping our community safe. Madam Speaker, we cannot afford another outbreak of COVID-19 in Western Australia. We cannot afford to have the Liberal National Opposition tear down the border protections that are contributing to the safety of our community. The consequences could be enormous, with a 6-week lockdown period resulting in a loss of 30,000 jobs, a huge reduction in state product, but most importantly, a huge impact on the health and welfare of our community and a return of fear. That is why this government is relying on the advice of the Chief Medical Officer in regard to arrangements for our state borders. The stakes are incredibly high, and this virus has shown it takes no prisoners if it's given a chance. It is a prudent and sensible plan for this contingency, and that is why I'm so pleased the McGowan government has been able to respond to this crisis so strongly, yet retain the capacity to fight the fight should we need to. Madam Speaker, I started by acknowledging the people of my community, and I want to end on that point. Dalyellop and Bunbury are special places. My community has shared in the adversity of the last 8 months, shared the uncertainty of the future. But like so many Western Australians, when their back is against the wall, they came out fighting. What I saw last weekend with all of those festivals was a vibrant, confident and forward-looking community that had regained its sense of purpose. And it was safe in the knowledge that this budget and this government is putting people first, putting a safe community first and putting a strong community first. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Member for Belmont.